Hello, my name is XONEVANT. Today is Wednesday, April the 16th, and this is your Daily Dose. Alright guys, we got a lot to talk about today. Let's get right into it. So there's a Titanfall developer out there that says he doesn't even care if Titanfall is even making a profit at all. He says that he's just glad that the game got made and that he was able to be a part of it, and that he's glad that the fans are enjoying it. Now I have to say, I was a bit skeptical when he made this statement too, because obviously these companies survive and thrive on the fact that their games make profit. So, you know, that should be the first thing that they're checking out, you know, the day after the game comes out, is how well it's selling, because that usually determines whether they're going to be able to make a second game or not. Now, according to this article, you know, EA has already secured the rights to a Titanfall 2, you know, so that's good, that's good news, but that could just be EA throwing down the cash, right? You know, wanting the longevity of the game, you know, seeing the potential. It may not necessarily be reflective of the actual sales. Now, like I said, you can take this two ways. I mean, you could take this as if the game maybe is not doing as well as they hoped that it would have been doing, and this is just one of those things that PR people tell you to say, right? So that it looks like you're just coming across as the cool developer. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This game was kind of innovative in my opinion. It did something new. It brought something fresh. The article talks about this too. You know, just with the Titans, and then you have the AI gameplay, and then you have the competitive play with regular people, you know, real people, the multiplayer aspect of it. There's a lot going on in this multiplayer that I think people do actually like. And not to mention the fact that they have broken down the typical barriers of what an FPS multiplayer game should be. You know, they try to do something different. They try to do their own thing. And I think, in my opinion, I think they've done a good job. And I like this guy, like I said, because I sometimes make statements like this too. People hear me make statements all the time about things on this channel, things that normal humans would never say, or that it doesn't make sense, or it could come across as like I'm just saying that. But that's truly how I feel about certain things. I don't look at the world the way that everybody else does, and money doesn't mean that much to me either. So when I hear this kind of statement, I'm like, this guy, he's like a man after my own heart, right? Like, you know, what he's saying kind of makes sense to a guy like me, because I say stuff like this too. I'm gonna have to give him the thumbs up on that one. I'm gonna have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that he may actually be one of the few developers out there who just got glad that he was glad that he got to make a game. You know what I mean? Which should be the most exciting thing about all these developers. You know what I mean? It really honestly shouldn't be about the bottom line. If they can make a great game, the bottom line will take care of itself. You see what I mean? They should always be making games for the art aspect of it and putting their heart and soul into their game. And if they feel confident when they release it on day one that it's going to do well, it will do well. You see what I mean? If they've put the time and effort into it and they've polished it as much as possible, then the profits will be there. That's how I look at it, right? If you do the job, you know, you give somebody a good product, they'll pay for it and they'll enjoy it and they'll love it. But if you do it just for the money, I think we can tell, you know, who kind of does things just for the money, right? Then I think you have a different outlook, you know, when the game drops. I think you do look at it a bit differently. I think you do probably go straight to the, you know, the sales charts and see how your game's doing. So I'm gonna give this guy a pass. I like this guy, you know what I mean? So let's keep this thing going. All right, so Naughty Dog has announced the Grounded Bundle for the PlayStation 3 for Last of Us. It's going to be a new DLC. It's going to be the hardest challenge ever, they say, in video games. The hardest challenge ever. And that's a bold statement, because there's some hard challenges out there, especially if you come from the retro days. But they're saying that this new difficulty mode is just going to be absolutely insane. And I'll quote them right here. They say, "It just could be one of the most difficult trophies you'll ever earn in a video game." Now, it's also going to come with the Reclaimed Territories map pack. It's going to be 4 new maps: Wharf, Capital, Coal Mine, and Water Tower. This is going to be $10 if you're not a Season Pass holder. It's going to be $5 if you do have the Season Pass. Now, the only question I have here is, will this be bundled in with the Last of Us Remastered? I'm reading articles and I can't find that there's a correlation between the two. Like, I don't know if this is just going to be on PS3 or if this will eventually get packaged in with the remastered version for the PlayStation 4. My thought is that it would, but I can't find any articles that kind of clarify that. So if you guys know the answer to that, let me know. Now typically I don't buy the DLCs as I go along. I've never done it for any game really. The only time I'll buy DLC is when it's packaged in with the game, maybe a Game of the Year edition, or like I said, The Last of Us remastered for the PlayStation 4, because of the value that's there. You see what I mean? And I just want to know if this is actually going to be a part of that or not. Now this is some pretty big news right here. PlayStation is actually unloading their stocks in Square Enix for a value of $47 million. It says here that PlayStation has unloaded 9.5 million shares, which they held in the Final Fantasy company. Now here's what I'm wondering, right? I wonder if they sold their shares because Final Fantasy's been kind of on the decline since like Final Fantasy X, in my opinion. It's just not been the games that it used to be, right? Back in the day, Final Fantasy would just kill the market, and now it just doesn't. Or, is Sony still, financially in trouble now? There's another article that says that they've just reached 7 million units sold for the PlayStation 4, but we all know that they don't make a lot of profit on those consoles, so that number is a bit misleading. And we kind of all know that Sony's been financially struggling, for a while now. Over the last year or so, they've sold multiple office buildings that they've had. They've laid off tons of employees and things of that nature. So, we know that they've been struggling. So I'm wondering which one, what is the motivation behind this big sell-off? And that's a ton of cash, $47 million, especially for, their relationship that they've had with Square over the years. And I'll end with this from the Wall Street Journal. They point out that Sony actually held 8.2% of Square Enix's total shares. That's almost 10% of their entire stock was held by one company. That's insane, man. So I hope that Sony pulls through. I hope the Xbox One, I hope Sony, I hope that the Wii U, I hope they all kind of get on track here, start turning some profits, because I want to see them all succeed. But when I saw this news, I was like, for them to be selling off their stocks like that, to this long relationship they've had with Square, because they've been supporting them since around the early 2000s. So to see this, to me, is a major red flag somewhere, right? Either they've lost their faith, with Square, or they're just really struggling and they need that $47 million, to pay some bills or pay some employees or something like that. So, I wish them all the best of luck, and Xbox as well, and the Wii U. I hope all these guys survive this generation. We don't want any of them to fail, because we need them to stay competitive, right? We don't want anybody to have the monopoly. So when I saw this, I had to report on it. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's show, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be good.